going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and you can also follow me on Twitter at SuperHypeDC. All right, so as many of you have probably seen by now, or have at least maybe watched some of it, or seen stuff floating around on Twitter and social media from the League of Mayhem stream last night with the Nerd Queens. Of course, they had the amazing Zack Snyder as their guest, and we got to see a lot of cool stuff and hear him talk about cool stuff, which I never get tired of hearing him talk about his movies, and especially his DC movies. So I just want to go over some of the highlights of the stream and give my thoughts. All right, so I guess one of the first big bombs he dropped on the stream was an image of Darkseid that's going to be, well, it is now, on a shirt. As we know, he has released a few shirts previously for on Ink the People for the donations that go to AFSP that we know he's very passionate about and is very personal to him. And so now there's a new one with Darkseid, a full-blown Darkseid, not how we see him as Uxis, whatever, in the teaser and in that, what we've seen of him so far. But like Omega beams, like full-blown grown Darkseid. And so really cool art. And on the back, and Zack said this is a line from the movie that we're going to hear Darkseid say, "All of existence shall be mine." And oh my god, first of all, I can't wait to hear his voice. I'm so interested to see how he's going to sound, and I'm excited that Steppenwolf's his voice is going to be, changed back to the way it was supposed to sound. And so I can't wait to hear his voice. I can't wait to see how Ray Porter does as Darkseid. And so again, awesome art. It's a white t-shirt this time, and again, a line from the movie on the back. And I think during the stream he says he probably was not supposed to be showing it. So but during the stream it had already gone live on Ink the People, so I think maybe they kind of were like, okay, he showed it, like, we need to get this out there now. So I don't think it was supposed to be live yet to purchase, but since maybe I don't know, that's what I think, because he said that he was probably not supposed to show that yet, but he did. And so I think that's when they're kind of like, okay, I don't find it as a coincidence that they decided to go live with it within a short period of time after he showed it. So anyway, I will include the link in the description for Ink the People if you are interested in purchasing. And of course, the proceeds go to AFSP. And yeah, so cool. I think a lot of people are excited about this one. I think it's going to be a lot of people's favorite shirt that he has designed so far. And, or not him, well, that he got together with the artists that they've designed together and put out there for us to buy. So also another big bomb that was dropped, which he tried to do very quickly and like nonchalantly, as he tends to do when he drops big bombs, is he showed just a drawing, as he called it, of Martian Manhunter. So I love the way he kind of like, he wasn't saying anything when he showed it. Like the hosts were talking about Martian Manhunter and like Funko Pops, and while they're talking about it, he's like scrolling through his phone, and you can tell like the look on his face and like that he's looking at his phone. He's looking for something to like blow everyone's brains out of their head, and he just shows it real quick without saying anything, and then they're all just so they're like, wait, what was that? And he's like, nope, I'm not showing that again. So I think he tried to do it so fast, but he had to have known that people were going to screen grab that immediately and start sharing it and reposting it. So it's not the best quality, of course, because he shows it very quickly on his phone, and like people, of course, are like zooming in, but it's a good, I mean, you can see it, it's not like from across the room and like blurry. No, I mean, you can see it, but it's just not like a high quality image. He called it just a drawing, but I think we can all probably confidently say that that's similar to what we can expect to see Martian Manhunter look like in the movie. I think that was a big moment for everybody. I don't know how long we're going to see him as in that form in the movie, but I know he is going to transform into that. He is going to show himself. He's going to reveal that he's Martian Manhunter, at least to the audience. So, he's Zack Snyder. I think he also wanted to kind of give something else away, but he stopped himself. He started saying in the opening of Justice League, and then he kind of stopped. And the girls were saying on the stream that Deborah was probably in the background like, keep it, zip it, don't say anything. I think it's hard for him though. Like, he knows that we all get so excited, and he's been sitting on all of this amazing stuff for so long. Yes, he has shared a lot with us in terms of like images and art and stuff like that, sketches, drawing, drawing boards, but storyboards, but there's so much still that we don't know. And like, I think especially when, first of all, he's awesome for doing this so often with fans hopping onto their live streams and stuff. I think it's hard for him because he knows that we love to hear him talk about all of this stuff, especially now that we're getting his Justice League. So I think it's hard for him to not say everything he wants to say when he is doing one of these things or like a watch party or something. So, another cool thing he talked about was who he would have picked for his Catwoman. And he said Carla Gugino. So you may recognize her. She's worked with him a few times. She worked with him on Watchmen, Sucker Punch. You might also recognize her from way back when we were kids, Spy Kids. She was the mom in that movie. She's always been beautiful. And I also like her as an actress. He said that she would be his perfect Catwoman, and that it would kind of take place like 10 years prior to the events of BVS, and that her and Batman, Bruce Wayne, whatever, would have like a fling. He didn't go into too much detail about that. Some people on Twitter have been saying that they were married or in a relationship or whatever. He didn't say that. He kind of just said they had like a thing, and that something goes down that maybe he might have to, get her arrested, or something happens to where it like severs their relationship. And so he's kind of, it changes his perspective. It affects him. Anyway, I think she would have been a good match for Ben Affleck's Batman. I could see them together interacting, and yeah, I think that she'd be a great choice for that. Speaking of her and Watchmen, he also shared, he tends to share when he does like watch parties or these live streams with people, he tends to get out his awesome big sketchbooks that he has bound after he finishes the movie. He has them all bound up. He has several books for a movie usually. He shared some sketches from Watchmen, and it's always cool to see like the art behind. And this is just like the very early stages. This is not like super detailed concept art, just pencil sketches and like some little like clippings that he glues in there for inspiration and stuff. So I always like seeing him share stuff like that. Like after we've already seen the movies, it's cool to go back and see stuff that was done before that to get to that point, Another thing he kind of talked about, which some of you might know this, I remember hearing Jason Momoa talk about it before. He talked about that when he went into audition, he didn't know who he was auditioning for, but he assumed he was auditioning for like Lobo or like more of like a villain character because of, his look and his personality. Like, he didn't think he was auditioning for a superhero, much less Aquaman. So he had shared before that he read lines for Batman, which he didn't know at the time, but like and of course he didn't know he was auditioning for Aquaman. But what I didn't know is that Zack Snyder shared that he kind of had like a version of like a Batman cowl on reading the lines. And I think a lot of people were kind of shocked to hear that. I do remember Jason Momoa talking about that before, but it was kind of a long time ago, and it just, I do remember him talking about it before, but People were kind of surprised to hear that. And then, of course, that's why he was shocked to find out that he was actually being picked for Aquaman. Because he's like, I don't look like an Aquaman. But, of course, that was Zack's vision for his Aquaman. So, you know, it's always fun to hear about cool little things that you might not know about what happened during auditions or behind the scenes. And speaking of course, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and now that we know Jared Leto was involved in the additional photography, they did ask him about like his opinion of Jared Leto and his Joker. And so I want to read a quote that he had nothing but good things to say. He said he's an incredibly dedicated actor, insanely talented. His attention to details, his amount of caring is so much fun for me. It's kind of just like a condensed version of his words about Jared Leto. I mean, obviously, okay, Zack Snyder did produce Suicide Squad. I'm sure he enjoyed having Jared Leto on the cast as Joker. And they were also talking about like how Jared Leto gets very into his roles. He's been called a method actor before. And so I am excited to see him in Zack Snyder's Justice League for sure, because it's not going to be the exact same version that we got in Suicide Squad. This is going to be Zack's vision of his Joker. And recently it's been coming out that he's supposed to be creepier and scarier and darker in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I wouldn't expect to see like a carbon copy of what we saw in Suicide Squad. Again, I'm sure he liked, you know, of course we only got a fraction of what we were supposed to of Joker and Suicide Squad, but yeah, I am so ready to see more in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Be it as a flashback scene with Robin or nightmare scene, whatever. I want to see it. Oh, speaking of Robin, that's one thing I almost forgot to mention. He said that Sam Benjamin is not Green Lantern. So I know he played a significant role in the movie. He mentioned in an interview his character had like a 30-minute arc. So during a live stream that Film Junkie did after the League of Mayhem stream, people were like, you know, posting their comments when he was talking about it, and someone voiced their opinion that they think maybe he's Robin. That never even crossed my mind, because I think everyone's been so hung up on the fact that, he's on the thought that he's supposed to be Green Lantern, he's supposed to be Hal Jordan. I never crossed my mind that he could have been Robin, because I never even thought that we were going to get anything to do with him, you know. Even when all these people are like, it's going to be a flashback with, you know, when the Joker kills Robin, and we saw that image of the suit recently, and that he was beaten and then burned, and like that's probably the fire that burned down Wayne Manor. Like, oh my God, you know. It still never crossed my mind that it could have been him, but now I'm kind of starting to think it's possible. I don't know. We'll see. And then going back to the AFSP, Zack was saying that it's a really cool coincidence that it's predicted that by or around the 17th, which is obviously a big day for all of us, that they're going to hit around 500,000 in donations that they've raised on AFSP through Ink the People. And cool coincidence, right? So I'm sure now that this Darkseid shirt is out there, it's probably going to get there even before that. So, you know, I'm sure I love when he expresses, you know, his thoughts, his feelings about how, yes, we're all excited, and him and everyone is excited that they finally get to show us their movie, but he never would have imagined that this is, you know, the bigger purpose that would have come from the release of the Snyder Cut movement. And I think that's why he's so willing to do this kind of stuff with fans and on live streams and stuff, is because he feels so much gratitude for that part of it, you know. And so also on or before the 17th, he should have, I think he said before the 17th, he'll have a little surprise for us, something to share, because he's all about us united. He likes it. Like I said, I think he has so much appreciation for everything that the fans have done for this movement beyond just the movie. So I don't know what he's gonna show us, but it's hard because I don't want anything to be spoiled, but then it's like I want to see it at the same time. So going back to Darkseid, they had asked him, like, have you thought about or wrote about, whatever, considered what would happen on Earth, like, after Darkseid takes over? And of course, I mean, it makes sense that he would think about this or write about it or whatever, because obviously we were supposed to have more than one Darkseid, more than one Justice League movie. There was supposed to be part 2 and possibly part 3, and, you know, it's supposed to be this whole big thing, this huge arc and all of that. So it makes sense that he would have something to say about that. And I want to read what he said. Where's the quote? I just saw it a moment ago. Okay, it's probably going to sound a little weird when I read it, because reading a quote doesn't always sound the same when people are actually saying it. We use a lot of filler words when we speak. So, this is what he said. If you said to any of the actors in the movie, well, what happens in the movie? Or what happens later? Or whatever, for any movie. And they go, well, I got the script and it's cool and I kind of know this. And so reporter and I were talking about this and that, or this and what's cool or what's the right response to some questions. It's a fair question to ask me, you know, like, what do I say to the world about what happens when Darkseid comes to Earth? Then what? Is that a thing? And I think, listen, the truth is that, did I write and did I have and conceive a complete? Do I know what happens when Darkseid? Yes. I do know what happens. To say and to speculate about what that is and what that would be, and that would be exciting, I think that's a fine thing. So, of course he thought about that. Of course he kind of knows what he would do, because we get introduced to that world way back in BVS. And so at that time, when they thought there was going to be like 2 or 3 Justice League movies, of course you would have to think about down the line what's going to happen in this timeline or in this scenario if Darkseid takes over Earth. We've seen that we're going to get more Nightmare stuff now in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So of course he can't say too much about it, because, you know, then you're just giving too much stuff away. Whether or not we do get a part 2 or whatever, which I think is I think it's a good possibility we will. But either way, I don't think you can give too much of that. Put too much of that out there, you know. But they do know, okay, now that we know we're going to get, you know, Darkseid and more Nightmare stuff in your version, of course it's going to come up now as a question, like he said, for him and Reporter, because now we're going to see more of that, and we're actually going to get to see Darkseid and stuff like that. So, of course he thought about it, but into what? How much detail can he go into? Probably not much. So, those are some of the highlights I wanted to go over from the stream. If you haven't watched it, please check it out on the Nerd Queens YouTube channel. So awesome, always fun, and of course, you know, there's a lot more that goes on during this stream, but not everything is about like a big reveal or like, you know, a big moment. They kind of, you know, of course, just talk about like life and other casual things, and it's always fun to hear. Zack just seems like such a cool, genuine person that's easy to talk to, and that, you know, he gets along with his fans and he just has fun talking with them like a friend. And I really do appreciate that about him. So thanks for the great stream. Thanks for the video, you guys, over at the Nerd Queens. Other than that, yeah, let's see what we get as our surprise in a few days. Of course, the Us United thing's coming up. We'll see what Zack has to share with us. And thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and we'll see you next time.